Consider supporting ArchaeoSoup on Patreon for as little as $1 per month. Link available in the video description. Thank you.
Jeepers, creepers, where you get those papers? All those weepers, how they hypnotize. Where did you get those eyes? Where did you get those eyes?
Hello and welcome back to another Archaeologist's Eye. In this series, as you well know, if you're watching this particular episode, you are presented with a puzzle scenario, an opportunity, if you will, to think like an archaeologist when confronted with a particular artifact, building, site, place, thing or person. An opportunity to make those connections between the past and the present, maybe with a bit of lateral thinking thrown in, that archaeologists tend to do quite naturally in their day-to-day lives. And if you're watching this particular video, hopefully you've already seen the previous episode. Hopefully you recognise this crisp packet. If you don't, stop the video now. Go and check out the previous episode, have a bit of a think, consider what you think the answer might be, and then come back. You'd be most welcome when you have seen that video. But if you're still here, hopefully, I'm presuming, you've already seen that previous episode. In what way is this crisp packet similar to ancient Greek pottery? So this crisp packet right here, there's something about it that makes it very similar to ancient Greek pottery. Indeed, in what way is this crisp packet similar to ancient Greek pottery? Well, I'm happy to say that your answers did not disappoint in their breadth, depth and considerations. And in the comment section, for example, on the previous video, one person suggested that the crisp packet and archaic Greek pottery are similar in the busyness of the design. The horror vacui. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that properly. I should have checked that before I started recording. Anyway, the concept that empty space should be filled with some sort of design or some sort of texture is an artistic concept that does in fact apply to lots of ancient Greek pottery. Not all of it, but lots of it. So that's an interesting concept. And as they said, the stripes all over the packet are just there to fill up empty space. That's an interesting concept. So yeah, okay. Another comment was, give that crisp packet 300 years, and if it's still in good condition, it may just be a collector's item that somebody will treasure and might even be worth something. I can see future mudlarkers 300 years from now really wanting that crisp packet. Yeah, well, yeah, like, you know, you never know. Snack Right might become some future billionaire collector's, you know, favourite brand of crisp, maybe. Maybe they just really like the idea of a beef flavoured snack, and they go looking for that stuff. Maybe there's even an archaeological specialist who deals in snack foods in the future, potentially. But in that sense, I suppose there's another deeper connection, and that is the mundane becoming somehow prized and sought after. Ancient Greek pottery actually and the crisp packet could be compared in terms of being utilitarian objects that may over time become museum worthy. Lots of the pottery that we see in museums from ancient Greece were at the time actually throwawayable. They were very consumable. They would be used. If they broke, they'd be thrown away and replaced. And the same certainly applies to the crisp packet. So that time depth element, that's a good point. A third response on the video was they both will last to be puzzled over by future archaeologists. They have designs on them that might not be instantly recognised. The crisp packet may become a puzzle in 2,000 years, and that actually I think is actually quite a wonderful answer. The idea that this will become, you know, the beef codex, the Snack Right codex, and you'll have someone in an Indiana Jones style kind of quest trying to to decipher the implications of, you know, the lines and the numbers on the back of the packet, and maybe this leads to some sort of lost, forgotten burial place of the king of Snackrite. Well, who knows? And that notion, while I think less likely, and in that sense, it is very much, you know, it's a speculation. It is also a speculation that I find very pleasing. So thank you for that particular answer. So all in all, some good thinking and good responses there. Good exploration, I think, of the abstraction of the artifacts. Over time, it becomes a document, or it becomes an artistic mark-making exercise. I like the thinking there. But none of those answers were particularly the answer that I was specifically thinking of. Okay, fine, I hear you cry. Just tell us the answer. Well, without much further ado, the answer is, and was, in front of you all the time. I actually lingered on it deliberately in the shots of the crisp packet in the previous video, and that is this, where it says, in a little speech bubble, "I'm new." Now, that's not to say that ancient Greek pottery had speech bubbles. Far from it. But on ancient Greek pots, we do find the pot speaking in the first person, specifically often telling you who made it, or rather who made me. I'll put a link to a wonderful website below from Oxford University that explores some of these inscriptions and also signatures in the glaze of the pot. But for example, Doris painted me is one inscription. Cletias painted me, Ergotimos potted me, and these kinds of inscriptions are the pot talking to you as the reader and telling you something about itself. And in this instance, the crisp packet is saying, "I'm new." That is specifically what made me think of ancient Greek pottery when I saw this crisp packet. It also has those other connections that we talked about. In fact, actually, one of the other things that occurred to me was the colour scheme isn't dissimilar to some of the shades of sort of orange and brown through to yellow that we see, particularly in red figureware vases. But it was specifically the speech bubble on the crisp packet. And my lovely wife, Mrs. Soup, in her former life as a classicist and a language expert, in fact, she once reflected on how, in a discussion about this phenomenon of the pot talking to you and telling you, you know, I belong to so and so, or I was made by so and so, that her professor once said that a very close analogy would be when you see a bus going past and the bus says something like, "I am out of service," this kind of thing. That was where her professor went in his head, and it does happen that the crisp packet is where I went in mine. So there you go, crisp packets and ancient Greek pottery, more alike than you might think. Hopefully you've enjoyed this little puzzle, this little exercise, and I hope to bring more of these to you more frequently in the future. Anyway guys, thank you very much for watching. As ever, until next time, do take care. Bye bye. Just in case they blow off.
You're all right.
Yes.
Come on.